Hello all, and welcome to another Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. Today we're going sci-fi. We're going into space with an unboxing of Tom Lehman's and Eric Kaminsky's Terminal Velocity, which is a jump drive expansion. Now, what is jump drive? Well, jump drive is a card game, and that was designed by Tom Lehman. And in order for us to understand jump drive, we got to jump back in time and kind of follow this path of how we got here. Long time ago, in a galaxy near to home, there was Puerto Rico. Now, Puerto Rico is your quintessential Euro game. Not overly complex rules, interesting interactive mechanics, and deep strategy and sometimes cutthroat gameplay. And it was actually, which brought it to #1 on the Board Game Geek back in the day. Now, one of the key aspects of Puerto Rico was this role selection mechanism where you pick a role and that determines what you're going to do that turn. And that's basically the main mechanisms of what people do is they go around picking different roles, doing different things, and proceeding to go down their own strategic paths that way. That role selection, I don't think, was originated in Puerto Rico. I mean, I think Citadels might have beat it out by a little bit of time, and there might be others out there as well. But Puerto Rico gave way to San Juan. Now, San Juan, it really focused more on that role selection and took this from a board game in Puerto Rico to a card game where it was kind of streamlined. You're still doing the role selection. You still have some of the same actions and dealing with some of the same type of events like, trade and building and the like, but it's all done with cards. And from San Juan, we have Tom Lehman jumping into the mix with Race for the Galaxy. Now, again, it focuses on that role selection, but really kind of expanded upon it, made it a little bit beefier, meatier, and more complex in that regard, and took it into space and with all its complexities. And with that, one of the things that it also did was it led way to a lot of expansions. And, I've talked a lot over time about expansion creep. Well, this is a classic example of expansion creep. In fact, there were so many expansions of this, they had to do a reboot box. They came out with the set and said, hey, you can just play this with the base game. Don't even add in the other expansions. So there's a lot of expansions for this. And in the iconography is something that you might need a Rosetta Stone at times to figure out what's going on. Now, it's not that complex once you get in and play in it and start understanding some of the different symbols and know how they work. But it is something that kind of factors into the teaching aspect of it. This is a hard game to teach or get into, breaking through that symbol barrier. So now we have the card game, a tableau builder with the role selection. Where did this go next? Well, this went to Roll for the Galaxy. So instead of being a card game, which we had with San Juan and Race for the Galaxy, now we have a roll game. You're using dice to as a primary mechanism in this game. There's still some of the role selection, but dice are much more of a key element of this. Now, where did it go after that? Well, it went to New Frontiers. Really, it went back to Puerto Rico. This is basically Puerto Rico in space. This goes back to some of the key concepts and mechanisms that were in Puerto Rico, but has taken some of the learnings as we've gone from San Juan to Race for the Galaxy to Roll for the Galaxy and put them into New Frontiers. But again, this is kind of repackaged and this is closer to Puerto Rico than any of the other sets. Then what did we do? Well, we wanted to simplify Race for the Galaxy. And how did we simplify Race for the Galaxy? We went to Jump Drive. And so we pulled out some of the learnings that we had from all these different evolutions coming from Puerto Rico. And we simplified, and we really focused on Race for the Galaxy and then simplified it into Jump Drive. And so that's where we are today when we're unboxing Terminal Velocity. So let's get to Terminal Velocity, which is what you're here for. A lot of boxes on my table here. So, Terminal Velocity, what does it do for you? Well, let's look at the back that I already did. I did a pre-rip Sorry about that. As empires rapidly expand, the race for the galaxy continues. Jump Drive Terminal Velocity adds new game cards and strategy goals and start worlds. Material for a 5th player and a series of 5 challenges for solo play. So big thing here is I really like Jump Drive. I mean, Jump Drive to me is a much easier teach than Race for the Galaxy. I really like Race for the Galaxy, but there's a little bit more of an investment to get into Race for Galaxy, even the core game, and especially if you have several of the expansions. But Jump Drive streamlines a lot of that and is a much more accessible game. I mean, you just get right to it. It doesn't have a lot of the chrome that Race for the Galaxy has, but there's still a lot of game in this box. But it was only for 4 players. So now with Terminal Velocity, we have 5 players, and we can do solo play. Race for the Galaxy brought in solo variants over time. Jump Drive does not have that. Now with Terminal Velocity, it has it. So now you have 1 to 5. That's always music to my ears. And then you have an example of some of the cards here, some new tokens. These are victory point tokens. That goes back to Race for the Galaxy. Then you get 22 game cards, 12 start worlds, 13 gold cards, 5 solo campaign cards, 3 reference cards, 2 explore markers, 12 goal markers, 21 victory chips. That's those things. That's what the game's all about. And then 1 rules. Okay. And we have Tom Lehman, and then this Eric Kaminsky came in for the solo game aspect of it. So let's get inside this box, clear out all these other boxes we have on the table here, and get to this. So I've actually played Jump Drive more than I've played Race for the Galaxy now. I used to play a lot of Race for the Galaxy, but Jump Drive is just easier to get to the table, especially if you have 2 or 3 people. Again, it's not the same meat of a game. It's not the same heft, but you still get a lot of the feel from Race for the Galaxy. It's like Race for the Galaxy Light. Here's Terminal Velocity. Here's your rules, talking about adding game cards, adding a 5th player, adding start worlds. This is optional. So that'll give you kind of a unique starting point and kind of a reference of how you want to play your game. It might give you kind of a strategy, a starting strategy. Adding goals, this is optional. Then you also have goal conditions, a little explanation of that. Solo campaigns, here's that new solo game. Solo campaign plus goals and start worlds. Okay, so you can add in that stuff. So it looks like it's somewhat modular in some respects. Then you got a campaigns challenge. Do all 5 solo campaigns in order without failing. And then you've got another contents list right there. So rules, not overwhelming. Here's your punch outs. You've got your victory point tokens. Some new, these are for the ad for extra players maybe on there, because that's usually with the that's usually something that's an option for one of the options you can pick is this token here. And even this game, as you can see, has some iconography, right? It has its own. It's not an advanced course like Race for the Galaxy plus its expansions. It's more of a beginner course, but there's still some icons that you're going to need to figure out what they mean. Like this usually goes to developments, and then that's dealing with military, that's dealing with colonizing and all the like. Those are double-sided. Oh, you get victory chits. Okay, that's interesting. Then the main thing you get in this deck is the card. Whoa, that just kind of disintegrated the plastic. Wow. All right, so you get a new, here's a round summary here. Basically how to play the game, a little player aid here. It's interesting. Then you got some new cards here. So I think these cards might be able to just fit in no matter what. And as you can see, there is some symbols and stuff you're going to need to know what they mean. And the cards are nice. There's a little bit of a texture to them. You see that a little bit with the glare. So we got some new cards here to get into the game. And these are dealing with, I think this is like maybe the campaign game or goals or something here. Yeah, here's your goals. Oh, it's got goals on the back here. So you got some goals here. Don't know how that works. Gonna need to read up on that. Interesting. Then we have, these are some start worlds, I think. At least they look like it. Yeah. Let's look at the backs here. So you got some start worlds here. Old Earth, Alpha Centauri, Earth's Lost Colony, Galactic Developers, Gene Experimenters, and Galactic Envoys. So those are some start worlds. That adds a whole new flavor to the thing. You got some red start worlds. I wonder what that is for. Oh, these look military. Maybe that's what they're for, because that's for military. That's cool. So you've got New Sparta, Epsilon Eridani, Separatist Colony, Imperium Warlord, Uplift Council, and Alien Research Team. So a lot of those look similar to some stuff that you see in the old Race for the Galaxy. Then we have, this is for solo play, a little player aid for solo play. And I think this might be all for, these cards might be for solo play. These are maybe the 5 different missions that you need to, solo campaign missions that you go through. Outreach, planning, travel, science, and dominance. There you go. So that is what you get in a box of Terminal Velocity. A lot more goodness. I'll probably end up putting it all in the jump drive box. I like to keep everything together. And of course that becomes a problem once you get a ton of expansions, because then, you know, you just don't want to dive into this box. Like to play this right now is kind of a chore, because I have to sort, because I have everything kind of combined, so I got to kind of pull it all out, and then I got to kind of go through all the different rules. How am I playing this again? If I want to just play certain of the expansions, well, I have them all kind of intermingled, which, you know, there's a way to solve that, but, you know, I'm lazy. So anyway, there you have it. Terminal Velocity, an expansion for Jump Drive, which is basically a simplification of Race for the Galaxy. So that's what I have for you today on this Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. Thank you so much for stopping by. You did not expect a history lesson or an evolutionary lesson of how we got here through the different versions of these games. And then there might be some other versions out there that I missed, but this is just what I have in my collection, and can kind of trace a line from the beginning to now. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. Thanks again for stopping by. Appreciate it. The best way I know you stopped by, drop me a comment. Let me know what you think about Jump Drive or Terminal Velocity if you've had a chance to play it. Or on any of the games I mentioned, Race for the Galaxy, New Frontiers, Roll for the Galaxy, Puerto Rico, San Juan, or any of the other variants that are out there. What are your thoughts on it? It's very much a rich history and lineage that all have some connection at some point. Anyway, thanks again for stopping by, and have a good one. Thanks for watching.